Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice Radio. So today, we're looking at a new Seismitoad. Now, we're never going to beat Seismitoad EX, alright? I don't think Seismitoad is ever going to have a better card. It's just not happening. However, this is the first fighting type Seismitoad we've ever had. We've had a few Seismitoad. Fine, if you want the exact number, we've had 5 plus the EX. And this is the first time we've ever had a fighting type. So that's kinda cool. But what does it actually do? Well, our translation here comes from the lovely Antoine Boulet over on Twitter. As we all know, he is a lovely man. And if we start off with the basics here, 160 HP is high, but it's about what we would expect from Stage 2. See stuff like Empoleon. Retreat cost of 3, seems like every Pokemon I'm looking at lately has a retreat cost of 3, means it cannot be searched out with Pokemaniac, that makes it worse. Weakness to Grass, honestly fine. Grass is not a big typing at the moment. Stuff like Reshiram and Charizard means that people are just not really willing to play the fire weakness. You do see Celebi and Venusaur seeing a little bit of play here and there. And that does 150, so the weakness will put it up to 300 and get the KO, though they only need 160. So maybe that's relevant. And you're a fighting type, and being a fighting type is absolutely relevant. Because it means that you've got Diancie Prism Star to do an extra 20 damage. It means that you can use Black Belt to reduce your attack cost by 1 fighting energy. It means that if you are using basic fighting energy, you can use Martial Arts Dojo to do an extra 10 damage or an extra 40 if you're behind on prizes. Yeah, being a fighting type's pretty good. And of course, you're hitting weakness on Pikachu and Zekrom, you're hitting weakness on Dedenne, etc. That, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty gosh darn sweet. But what does it do? Well, the ability here should look kind of familiar. It's Smooth Over. I'll give you a minute. It's Magcargo. It is literally the exact same ability as the Magcargo from Celestial Storm, even down to the fact that it's called Smooth Over. I know, right? Now, for those of you that may have forgotten, it lets you search your deck for any card and put it on top of your deck after shuffling. This is wonderful. This is just brilliant. And Magcargo's seen a lot of play for this ability. Now, Magcargo is a Stage 1 rather than a Stage 2. Clearly, if all you're looking to do is play a Pokemon purely to be able to use this ability, yes, Magcargo's better. Magcargo's a Stage 1. No argument there. And it is easier to get a Stage 1 out than a Stage 2. So yes, if you just want the ability, I'm not going to try and convince you to play this over Magcargo. Now, if we were in the expanded format, and if Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick hadn't been banned, then I might suggest you use Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick to just put a fighting Pokemon directly onto your bench, as if it were basically a basic Pokemon. Yes, okay. But Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick has been banned, so it's irrelevant. But it would be a really cool thing for that. So no, it's not going to replace Magcargo, it's a Stage 2. But just look down on its own merits, it's a phenomenal ability. It means that you've got much consistency. It means you can basically stack your top deck for next turn. But more than that, if you've got any way of drawing cards, it's going to be amazing. Maybe you play around with Fire Energy and use something like Welder. Far more likely, you have something like Pidgeotto on the bench. And Pidgeotto lets you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one in your hand and the other one on the bottom of your deck. Well, gee whiz, it would be quite nice if you were guaranteed to hit the card you wanted. Or maybe even you're playing Custom Catcher. And yes, Custom Catcher's great because if you play 2 at the same time, it's a gusting effect, and we've got precious few of those post-rotation. But if you play 1, it lets you draw until you got 3 cards in your hand. So as long as you don't already have 3 cards in your hand, you can just use this to make sure you draw the cards you just put on top using Seismitoad. It is a phenomenal ability. It means that you can grab something like Rare Candy to get your next Seismitoad out. I mean, We talked about Custom Catcher a minute ago. One of the things you can actually do here is if you've got one in your hand, use this to search out the second, draw it with something like a Pidgeotto, and then you can just gust away using Custom Catcher. And like I've said, post-rotation, we're losing all our good gusting options. So that would be kind of cool. Or you can use it to find that one perfect supporter card, which is going to be everything that you wanted. You can use it to find your one enhanced hammer that you're playing just in case your opponent's playing special energy. You can use it to grab a super boost energy. You're playing a stage 2 deck. So if you can get 3 stage 2s out, super boost energy becomes flat out over the top, unquestionably amazing. Any 4 energy when attached to a stage 2 if you got 2 other stage 2s out. But it's a Prism Star. You can only put 1 in your deck. Oh look, now you can find it. Or you find your one Diancie Prism Star, because you can only put 1 of those in your deck, or whatever it might be. Maybe you find Martial Arts Dojo on the turn you go behind on prizes. The point is, it is phenomenal. You've got to have a way to draw the top card of your deck. I've given you a bunch of examples. You'll be fine. But if we're going to play Macargo, if we just want the ability, then this is only really going to be great if we can find a decent attack. And the good news is, we got a decent attack. For 1 fighting and 3 colorless energy, it does a base 80 damage, plus 30 for each of your bench Pokemon that has any damage counters on. Well, that's not too bad now, is it? Because if you've got a full bench, that's 5 Pokemon and they're all damaged, that's 150. Yeah, you're up to 230. Now, somewhat annoyingly, that is actually just short of Tag Team GX territory. The weakest Tag Team GXs are Pikachu and Zekrom and Gengar and Mimikyu. Although ironically, one of those is weak and you'll be getting a KO anyway, and one of them resists, so you wouldn't be getting a KO if you did 240. Hey ho. Point is, you're short of the Tag Team GXs. But Shrine of Punishment. Just play Shrine of Punishment. There's no other stadium you desperately need here other than Martial Arts Dojo. Oh wait. You see, this is a good segue to remind ourselves that we're playing a fighting Pokemon. So when I say we're hitting 230, that's only the beginning of the story. Now, if you add in Diancie Prism Star, you're actually hitting 250. But if you add a Martial Arts Dojo, if you're behind on prizes, that's an extra 40. So even if we take Diancie Prism Star away, you're hitting 270. Well, 270 gets the vast majority of Tag Team GXs, Reshiram and Charizard springs to mind, with the full bench of damage Pokemon. Diancie Prism Star Martial Arts Dojo, you're sitting there hitting 290 damage. If you've been able to use a Shrine of Punishment at some point to drop 10 damage on a Magikarp and Wailord, then you'll be able to get a KO on that Magikarp and Wailord. This is a powerful attack that can basically KO anything. Now, there's 2 issues here. 1, damaging your bench. 2, getting the energy. Well, the energy's not a huge problem. We've got triple acceleration energy. Now, look, if you're not against a GX or Tag Team GX deck, this attack's probably too expensive. Play something with a cheaper attack. But otherwise, you're taking 2 or 3 prizes per attack. The fact that you can only play 4 triple acceleration energy in your deck shouldn't matter. If you're behind on prizes, you can actually play Black Belt and triple acceleration energy and just pay this attack cost in a single turn rather easily. Yeah, that's pretty gosh darn nice. If you want to get fancy, you can play stuff like Welder and Malamar and all of that, but I'll be honest with you, triple acceleration energy, Black Belt, basic fighting, that should be enough for this particular deck. What about damaging your bench? Well, you could play something like your Spiritomb, which can damage itself. Or you can play GXs and play Shrine of Punishment to damage themselves. Or you can use one of those Pokemon that does 10 damage to each of your bench Pokemon. The easiest one to use here would actually be the Trapinch from Dragon Majesty of all things, because 1 fighting energy, 20 damage, plus 10 to each of your bench Pokemon. So it's going to take you a turn or 2 to get Seismitoad rolling anyway, so basically just chuck your Trapinch up and attack and damage all of your bench, and then you'll be fine. It's a bit of a weird one, but that will weirdly work, ladies and gentlemen. And it is a basic, and it uses fighting energy, so it might be the best option we've got for the moment. So, both these issues are solvable. And no, it's not the easiest Pokemon to use ever. It's a stage 2. You basically need triple acceleration energy and probably a black belt. It's not the easiest deck ever, but remember that you've got Smooth Over. You've got an ability to help you get set up, and that is going to help you immensely. I think this has got a chance. Yes, it's awkward. Yes, it's annoying. But the fact of the matter is, you've got built-in consistency with this Pokemon itself, and you can be one-hit KOing tag team GXs. As far as I'm concerned, that makes it pretty gosh darn good. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it 4 Wassies. I think this has got a chance. I think people are going to play it. Maybe it will work. Maybe it will be like the round Seismitoad that never actually ended up being good despite having a bunch of potential. I don't know. But I do think it's good, and I do know that I'm going to be testing it even if no one else is. But I'd like to know how much you like this and how much you're thinking of testing it. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, please head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.